Oh yeah, and welcome to episode 15 of the Temple Bard podcast with me, Jim Wynn, and Philip Noon. Philip, do you like being called Philip? Do you identify as Philip? Today we're talking about cancel culture.
Cancel culture, Jim.
This all came about because you were listening to last week's episode
Yes.
and you thought something I said could have been perceived in a offensive way. It could have been perceived in an offensive way. Not that it was, but
Maybe no. I think nowadays we're just walking on eggshells all the time,
yeah.
and it's constantly changing. One week it's okay to say something, and then maybe the next week it's not. I'm not going to say what we said last week because now it'll give everybody a chance to go back and listen to the whole episode.
I'll say. I mean,
No. Give everybody a chance to go back
and listen to the other episode and see if you can find something that we could have possibly been cancelled for. That's your homework this week, Temple Bar, ladies and gentlemen.
They'll go back and about 7 different things and be like, no, it wasn't any of them.
So we decided today, as we had this discussion earlier on, that it would be a good day to maybe tackle this topic as a whole and how it seems to be affecting really more the online life, I would say, than anything else. And there's people being cancelled left, right and centre apparently. But I think that, well, you know what I think. Just drink and get it over with, folks.
The dualities are collapsing.
I think that, I don't mind the things change, and I just wish people would have a bit more patience with people to keep up with the change. Don't jump down people's throats because they don't get the exact phrasing right now and then, because really, again, it comes down to people's intention. Is someone intending to be offensive? Are they saying it out of spite because they think that it's a ridiculous thing, or are they really just saying it as a mistake? Personally, from what I've noticed, and I don't really follow the cancel culture much, it seems to have calmed down a bit in some ways, no? People being more understanding and not just jumping on the bandwagon as much.
Right, well, who has been cancelled? Who have we seen? R. Kelly, obviously.
R. Kelly.
Yeah. For real, that's
not for saying something.
No, that's legit. That's legit.
It's not for saying something, Phil. Do a little bit more than say something.
R. Kelly, okay. R. Kelly properly cancelled, yes. Okay, rightly so.
Yeah.
So, I'll tell you what, I've a bit of a personal connection to this. A cousin of mine was married to one of the Dixie Chicks.
Okay.
Gareth was married to Marty out of the Dixie Chicks, and they were living in Texas and everything. Now, in 2000, I think it was 2002, the Dixie Chicks came out and said, so they were the original cancelled band, I suppose, in that they came out and they said, we are ashamed to say we are from the same state as George Bush.
Okay.
He was only after going into Iraq at the time, I think, and that's and there was uproar. They were burning their CDs. They had effigies in the street. They had they were having public hangings of these Dixie Chicks dolls, mental stuff. And now over time, it's transpired that the word Dixie has become synonymous with, I don't know, some sort of racial slur or discriminatory slur. I didn't know this. So the Dixie Chicks, so they're called the Chicks now. They've completely rebranded the whole band in the last 10 years as the Chicks. I don't know.
Is Chicks not... Well, I suppose because they're women, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I would have thought Chicks was more offensive than Dixie.
So yeah. I don't know what...
What about if they were Dixie Chicks with dicks?
We're going to have to do another episode next week now.
Don't cancel us for that one.
Don't cancel us. That was funny. Yeah, but as I was saying to you, it's so we can say this. It's a joy being at this stage of everything, where we're still in our Wayne's World phase, where we can still kind of before Rob Lowe shows up with Cassandra
a record contract and takes one of us away, leaves the other one behind.
I want to be Garth.
I want to be Cassandra, and I have every right to be.
Wayne's World 2. There's a movie. If you book the bands, they will come. That is unbelievable. Wayne's World 2 was a phenomenal film.
Was it a flop, was it?
I don't think so. Was it?
I really liked it as well, but I feel like it might have been a flop in the
I had to get 100
picture.
brown M&Ms, or Ozzy wouldn't go on stage.
Beat him to death with his own shoes.
We had to beat him to death with their own shoes.
Brilliant.
I had a dream where Jim Morrison and a naked Indian Did you think it was?
A naked Native American film.
Oh, sorry. Well, in the movie it was naked
Yeah,
Indian.
well, it doesn't matter. It happened back then. You can't say it anymore.
And yeah, that was a great film. Wayne's World 2 was a great film. Wayne's World was a great film.
Yeah, yeah, that was a big cultural moment. It was just at the end of kind of hair metal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or it was kind of trying to relive the glory days of it. But hip hop was taken off then, so it was just kind of the last. You know, that did a huge. That might have made Bohemian Rhapsody such a. You know, Bohemian Rhapsody to everybody is like this anthem, like a worldwide thing.
Honestly, it's almost a hymn.
Yeah, it is almost a hymn. It's a beautiful piece of music.
It is.
To be a popular music, like it's actually very complicated and really special. But if it wasn't for Wayne's World, that might have lost some of that. Wayne's World kind of gave it a bit more of a
The car scene.
That kind of it brought it like it had kind of dipped out of the culture a bit. Like it was still a huge band, Queen are huge, still a huge song, but it brought it right back up there, and it's been.
That's class.
Yeah.
That car scene.
That is amazing.
The Mamma Mia Let Me Go. It's brilliant.
Nearly, that was the only thing that's ever wanted me to grow long hair. Made me want to grow long hair.
I was never able to.
Philip's long hair was cancelled. Before it even got
My
growing.
long hair was cancelled at 23.
Oh no. Doesn't stop some people. I've seen a lot of lads who keep the long hair all around the back, like
And then push it over the top.
Keep the curtains. Remember back in the day when you used to be able to just brush it over, the Bobby Charlton look.
Right, so my dad is bald, right? But do you know what I think made all my hair fall out?
What?
When I was about 10 or 11, David Beckham had the 1998 curtains.
Yeah.
And I used to like grow my hair to like that length and get it cut to a certain length and use my mother's hair mousse to make that. And I mean, like I used to have handfuls of hair coming out every morning just to get these curtains directly in the middle, like on both sides. And I think that was a big part of it. And then whatever didn't come out then came out with Red Dax. Whenever Red Dax came in, do you remember Dax?
The wax?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Red Dax was like fucking concrete. Like, I mean concrete. Red Dax was mad, like.
Oh, I remember it, yeah. I never used much things.
Blue Dax was just lovely, but Red Dax was like you could, if you left it in your hand for too long, your fingers would get stuck to
What
your
was the
thumb, like.
difference?
So Blue Dax was like was a softer texture. It was like for more of a styling kind of thing.
Right.
Red Dax was if you wanted to.
If you wanted to keep your hair in place, standing behind a jumbo jet.
It was just mad. Like Red Dax, you could put that in on a Monday, and you'd still your hair would still be perfect on Thursday. Like,
yeah, the archaeologists would find you in 1,000 years' time,
was-
still perfectly
I
coiffed.
swear. Red Dax, Jesus Christ. So I had a mad combination. It was either Red Dax. This is when I was going out. Red Dax with Jean-Paul Gaultier. Do you remember Le Male? It was the first Jean-Paul
green
Gaultier. Green with the stripes. Yeah. The body.
I do
with
remember
the,
that.
or that clear Hugo Boss.
Yeah.
They were the
Cool water.
Davidoff. They were big business back then. Yeah. Not knocking it. People are still wearing Davidoff and Hugo Boss and Le Male. Yeah, lovely. But they remind me. If I put that Hugo Boss on now, the Boss bottle, the original one, it just brings me back to Salou 2005. Like straight away. Like I put it on and I'm like, Jesus, I'm on the beach.
It's like that, the Alive Inside when a song brings you back, but a scent.
Yeah.
any kind of sensual thing probably brings you back.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
You know what I mean? Anything like a taste could bring you back. A touch could bring you back. It could be good or bad. Don't cancel me for that.
We're being brought back to the cancelling there. Yeah. That was why Michael Jackson. Well, has Michael Jackson been cancelled? I know we said this on a previous episode or previous podcast where we were saying about it, but it's mad because Finding Neverland has come out, right? Yeah. And we've seen the lads, and you know the whole world is up in arms because it's divided. And if that happened to the two lads, which I believe myself it may have, because there was just a lot in the documentary that made sense. And there was a lot of people over the years who came out and had the same kind of experience. Mm. Michael Jackson had alarms on certain halls of the house. You know, he had these boys do very similar things that other guys came out and said later who had no connection with the first two boys, you know? So a lot of people have cancelled Michael Jackson for it, but a lot of people haven't.
Yeah.
A lot of people just downright don't believe it.
Or do you separate the man from the music? But let me tell you, because that's interesting that you brought that up, because I, not 2 days ago, watched a not a documentary, a podcast where Michael Jackson's bodyguard was talking in a podcast. I can't remember the name of the podcast. It's an English kind of London fella. But anyway, he was talking about, he was an English fella, the bodyguard, who Michael Jackson met through Uri Geller.
Oh, yeah.
And
they were tight.
Yeah, and he was the bodyguard for years. And he said that Michael Jackson used to have women around all the time, and that he purposely fed the stories about his appearance and his weirdo habits to the press, and that the children thing started. He said the original fella who he paid off, he said that his dad was just looking for money, that the kid, Geordie Chandler, ended up getting emancipated from his parents because he thought they lied about it. This is what he says now. I don't know if this is true. And he said that when he paid that 30 million settlement, it's because he was on tour and it would have cost billions to cancel the tour and him to go to the court. So he gave his story about it, and he said that he was not a paedophile. He said he'd never seen anything like that. He said most of the time, he said when he's talking about kids in his bedroom, he had like a mansion of a bedroom. His room was like 3 stories his bedroom. And now this is just his explanation of it. What really is we'll never know. Me and you will never know.
Well, what we do know is that he had a very traumatic childhood in that his brothers, when he was in the Jackson 5, so Tito and Jermaine were older than him.
Yeah.
And they used to bring, because they're 17 and 18-year-old pop stars. So they're obviously doing like scandalous stuff.
Bell stuff.
You know, like when you're a pop star at 18, you can do what you want, like, right? But so they were bringing girls back, and because they all had to share a room or whatever, Michael was put in the closet, in the wardrobe. So he was watching this from he was like 7 and 8 years of age. He was watching his brothers bring girls back and whatever they were at, like 18-year-old pop star behavior. Yeah. So I mean, you know, he did miss out on a childhood.
Yeah, absolutely. There's that, like, there's, you know, people have to understand that no matter what your circumstance in life is, you're going to have trauma. You're going to have things to deal with that maybe we don't see. Like if you're struggling to make ends meet, someone who has their ends met seems like they've got it all figured out. Everything's going well, but that's not how it works. If you have your ends met, there's going to be some other. Everyone has like biases in some direction. Something's going well, I mean something's not going well. We're here to try and balance it out. That's my theory on it. So I think nobody has it perfect.
Again, Will Smith's probably a good example of that. He was a man that had the world at his feet, ready to win his first Oscar.
Yeah.
And went and cancelled himself.
Yeah, now we think about it back, when we were trying to think about people who are cancelled, who was actually being cancelled and stayed cancelled and like for saying something? I don't think anyone has.
Rob Lowe.
What did he say?
Rob Lowe was like on top of the world, and then he had like, I think it was like, did he have like an underage sex case or something?
That's not saying something, Philip. That's doing something.
Yeah, but I'm saying he was cancelled.
Yeah, but I'm saying who's got cancelled for saying something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For saying something silly. I mean, it happens to politicians because they're up there trying.
Jade Goody.
Who's
Jade Goody? When she was in the Big Brother house, she called your woman Shilpa Papadom.
Yeah, I remember.
And they cancelled her.
Yeah.
And they only kind of took to her again when she got cancer, and then she died.
Yeah.
But they really cancelled her. Like the whole world turned against her.
Yeah, I remember that actually. That's true. That did happen. And did she ever? But then she got back in the good graces. I feel like this cancellation thing is just—it's like anything in life. This too shall pass. If everything's going well, you think you've it all figured out. Wait long enough.
Has Liam Neeson come back yet?
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he even got cancelled. I think that he said something about.
He said he wanted to go around the street looking to kill a black man.
Because his friend was raped or something.
But yeah, by a black man. Yeah. And he said, I was just looking to kill any black man.
Well, I thought, for what I got from here...
You can't say that.
No, you can't. But you can't do that. He was given an example of how race bias played into his attitude at that time, which makes sense. He saw it as his previous self, like we've talked about in all the episodes lately. People change constantly. And he was talking about how himself at that time was projecting that onto a whole race of people. Like we talked about with the incels even. You can't generalize people. You can do it if you want, but it's not helpful. Yeah, Liam Neeson, I thought it was a brave thing in a way, because he must have known that he would have got a bit of shit for that before he said it.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
And it's like one of those things where the act of doing it is abhorrent in a way. You see like how wrong it wasn't, but he sees how wrong it was. And so for him to come out and say it and admit that this is how I used to be, and that's taking ownership of your previous self. It's we're all changing all the time. So it's the same as if somebody says something that you think they should be cancelled for, give them time to change their opinion. Give them time to, because if you scream at someone, they're not going to change their opinion. If you shout abuse at someone, you're just going to make them dig in and be defensive. Nothing gets solved by that. Like, I remember there was a program on BBC years ago about paedophilia, and there was a fella that came out and said he was abused as a child. He had sexual feelings towards children, but he never acted on it. But he wanted to be part of this documentary to figure out how to solve this problem in his life.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the bravest things I've ever seen in my life, and he got absolutely taken to shit. Like people were like hanging by the toes and all this. He's literally trying. He has these feelings that he can't help. Like paedophiles have these feelings that they can't help. So instead of just hanging them and killing them all, let's figure out why they have these feelings and how can we solve that before people are hurt as a consequence. So that's just another example of, let's not just throw all the baby out with the bathwater. Like it's usually someone who was abused as a child, and the cycle continues. So how do we stop the cycle? I don't think it's through hate. It's through trying to understand. Doesn't mean let people do these things that we don't agree with as a society. It just means understand that they're not. No one is born thinking, I hope one day I'm a paedophile. Like this is something that happens, or a murderer or something. These people's lives lead them in these directions. When we say people are cancelled for saying things, I really don't think they are. There's like a big pile-on. But if you just wait it out, I don't think anyone's been like literally cancelled completely.
I know we're going to find one, 100%.
Well, folks, who's been cancelled? Text in on the Temple Bar podcast.
Yeah, actually, wherever you're listening to it now, you've got a little message. If it's on Spotify, there's a little message box.
Yeah. And on Apple.
And on Apple, yeah. If you're listening on iHeartRadio, what the fuck are you doing?
You must be a paedophile.
There's two people who listen on iHeartRadio. So like every week when like the numbers come in, like obviously you have like, the few hundreds on Spotify and a few hundreds on Apple and things like that, and then iHeartRadio there's always two people. Yeah. So whoever you are, shout out to the two people on iHeartRadio. Shout out to
the iHeart crew. I heart you too.
Yeah, we heart you too.
Yeah.
But the numbers are going up. So thanks a million for listening. Anybody just finding us? We hope you haven't cancelled us and turned us off. And so far in this episode,
a lot of times the people who jump on the bandwagon to cancel people for saying things aren't the people who the thing could be construed about. The people getting offended for people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And a lot of people are just unhappy.
Yeah, and
especially on the internet.
If you find something offensive about someone, or if you're jumping down someone's throat, it's because there's something inside yourself that you don't want to deal with. You're avoiding something inside yourself. That's what I think, anyway. So it's an unhappiness, yeah, and there's this anonymity or this, what do they call it? Virtue signaling.
Right.
Everyone wants to be, and it comes from a good place, I believe. People want to be for the good of everyone, but it comes to, it's not your actions, it's your intention.
No, but the internet can be it, right? The internet can be, let me just give you a couple of examples here. The internet can be a disgusting place. There's this lad and his name's the Chemo King. Have you seen him?
No.
So he's dying of terminal brain cancer, and they're inoperable tumours, and he's a legend. Right. He's running like so many marathons. I have seen him. Yeah, he's running so many marathons, and he does ice baths and all. Like he does all this, like, and he's raising millions.
Yeah.
For cancer research and things like that. But he's sadly he's terminally ill. And the other day he was in an ice bath, and he was live on Instagram, and the comments were flicking up, and like everything was so positive and everything. And then there's always one.
Yeah.
Someone just wrote, "Dying is gay." There's just always a troll.
Yeah, but do you think that person is that's someone who's probably just being funny? It's not like someone who's being hateful. I would say.
Have you heard of this website Tattle?
You were saying something about it earlier on, yeah?
It's basically a website where people can go on and set up anonymous profiles and just slate whoever the fuck they want. So, like, if you have any kind of a profile in Ireland, they go on and basically just slate people. Like obviously enough, the bigger the star you are, the worse you're getting it, because there's more people coming for you.
Right.
Like, even they go after nice people. Like your man Joe Wicks, I've never seen a problem with him in my life. Like, he just seems sound. But there's like 7 tattle threads on him, or maybe more, just slating him and everything he does and everything he tries to do. Like,
The tie he wears is problematic, Philip.
no, but you know, like, people are out there trying to. Now, listen, people like Conor McGregor have them, right? And there's always going to be one for people when you get to that stratospheric.
Polarizing people, yeah.
But even like the like of the two Johnnies there, people go on and just rip into them.
Yeah.
For what? For two lads out trying to make a living, like, make a few pound, like. And again, Pussycat Doll 976 has had a bad fucking day, so they want to come on. And
He's gone off the Red Room side. He's gone off the Red Room side for a few minutes.
But you know what I mean?
Just to go on to tattle.
But that's someone's outlet too, I suppose.
What's the difference between that and just some anonymous person on Twitter or something? Is there, or this is specifically to shit on people?
Well, I suppose I learned this really early on, right? So I was in Eurostar in 2004, and I sang blissfully out of tune, right? In my
showed me the video the other day,
so I showed you the video, so we'll post it at some stage. But I actually had a website at the time. So everybody on Eurostar we had websites.
Yeah.
And I had a fucking message board on mine. And you could put in whatever name you wanted. Oh, I got slated. Obviously enough, being like a 17-year-old, I hadn't developed it. Like, now we're older.
Yeah.
We've been through some bad gigs in our lives.
But your first bad gig was
So
on the biggest TV
that was
show
my
in
first
Ireland.
that was my first bad gig, right? And it just happened to be the worst gig ever. So I learned early on. Now listen, over the years we've had bad gigs. Like, as I told you, I've had gigs where there's been nobody there, and the people who were there fucking hated me.
Yeah.
So you develop a thick skin for this over the years as you learn your trade and stuff. But I had this baptism of fire where everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Yeah.
And I had to deal with this message board of people just calling me fucking awful names. Like, awful names. For maybe 3 weeks. Like, waking up, and I had abnormally big ears at the time. For now, I think I've grown into them maybe slightly. They're still quite big. But when I was 16 or 17, my ears were fucking massive. And all I got was fucking Dumbo, out of key, monkey boy, fucking sing. I mean, everything.
It's so strange because, like, just because you're a 17-year-old kid who there was a problem with your sound or whatever, so there's a reason. But anyway, it doesn't matter what the reason was.
The monitor wasn't working.
The monitor wasn't working. Yeah, whatever. But, like, what makes you go, all right, that fella had a bad gig.
20 years later,
I'm going to go on and
monitor's fault.
slate the shite out of that fella now.
Somebody actually told me, this was when I was years ago, when I was 17. He said, they'll love you when you're with them.
Yeah.
He said, but as soon as you go and try and do something, he said, that's when they'll come for you.
As soon as you go onto the Eurostar.
No, as soon as he said, as soon as you try and do anything, he said, that's when they'll come for you. And if you look at it, like,
It goes back to the notions, no?
it's notions, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I had some of the worst gigs I had, it just reminded me there when you were saying, for all those years after Cyprus where I couldn't sing, I would do, like, just to pay me car insurance and all, I'd try a gig maybe once a month, and like 3 or 4 gigs, or maybe more, I'd start and do half an hour, and they come up to me halfway through and go, sorry, bud, we'll give you half the money just to finish. Because I'm like, I swear, I have some of the songs I've been recording, I've kept the original vocals from when I wrote them. Like, it was unlistenable, so I don't blame them. But they were some dark days, man. There were some dark days. People were like, I said, nah, we're just not feeling it. Like, because people, you can't explain to someone what your whole life is and how you're led to this moment. Like, and the same thing, when you have a bad gig, you can think of all the reasons why it's happened, but again, it's just something. This too shall pass.
Oh, I remember having a really bad. I remember the first time I got COVID.
Yeah.
And I remember having a really, like, I was on the stage and I wasn't feeling well at all, and I was sweating buckets of sweat were coming out of me, and I was trying to sing and I just couldn't. And nobody knows that I have COVID. Like, you can't turn around the microphone and go, oh, listen, I know I'm shy tonight.
Yeah, no, tomorrow.
But that was it, like, you know, just everybody said, and you couldn't turn around to them and go, listen, I know I'm shy tonight, but I've COVID. Like.
Yeah. I know. It's always like that, and I do a little thing now before every gig I do, when I sit in my car or wherever I am, and I take like a little 2-minute meditation, and I tell myself I want to keep the vibration high, no matter what the outcome or what I perceive as people's reaction. Let me keep the vibration high and be grateful for being able to do this as a job, because there was many years where I couldn't do it. And I tell myself that every time. And even though I still get like some gigs, I'm like, oh my God, please be over. It brings me back. So having those years where I couldn't do it makes me appreciate it more, you know. So that's why, and it's the same with any struggle. I find that it gives you a perspective where you appreciate things more.
Just when you said struggle, do you know Steve Buscemi?
I do.
He's in Dublin at the minute.
Yeah, I was at one of the pubs I play in. The barman told me he just left. He'd been there.
No way.
Yeah.
So he's my favourite actor of all time.
I know, he's
like,
great. Yeah.
He's like my number one of all time.
Hello,
like.
fellow youths.
But that was Grown Ups, was it?
I don't know what it was in. It's a big meme though.
Yeah, when he's... Oh, no. That was some school thing he did, but he was Nucky Thompson in Boardwalk Empire. And of course, he was Gartland Green in Con Air when he was the psycho.
Yeah.
He's got the whole world in his hands.
Yeah.
I love him.
I think he's over here doing the Addams Family. They said to me.
Yeah, Wednesday.
He's definitely has a Gomez Adam vibe about him. No,
He does.
big time. Is that who he is? Isn't it? I haven't seen
He
it.
has to be.
It must be.
Has to be Gomez Adams. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
But yeah, he broke up a fight. Just when you said struggle, he broke up a fight outside some pub in Dalkey the other day.
Oh yeah.
He came out of the pub. This was in the afternoon, I think. And he came out of the pub and there was some boys fighting or something. He went over and broke it up and then they realised who it was.
I mean, you imagine you're about to thump the head off some of that. Next thing you turn around and goes, "Come on now, guys, we can do this. We can do this. We can do this another way." No, you just go, keep that bug-eyed freak away from me. He must be pushing 60 or 70 now at this stage.
No, he's closer to 80, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, I think so.
Wasn't he not in all those early Adam Sandler films?
Yes.
His thing.
Yeah, he was. But he was in The Sopranos too. He was in like... I know, he's 66.
66.
He's 66.
Route 66 for Steve Buscemi. What a guy.
Yeah, he's my favourite actor.
He's one. Actually, funnily, you should say now, Boardwalk Empire, because one of my favourite actors is the other fella. I think he died recently in Boardwalk Empire. It was Chucky.
He tweeted me before.
Did he?
Yeah, Michael C. Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did he die? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Years ago.
He was a brilliant actor.
A fentanyl overdose.
Yeah.
He was Omar in The Wire as well.
Yeah. I haven't actually seen. I started The Wire and didn't get into it, so
I tweeted him
I've been
after.
told it's amazing.
I just randomly back in the day, about maybe 10 years ago, I tweeted him after an episode of Boardwalk Empire where he was chalky white, and I tweeted him just to tell him he was deadly or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just wrote back, "Thanks, Phil," and it made my life.
No way.
I was like, class.
Fair play to him. I mean, just
Do you know what I mean? Like,
that makes me love him more.
Why would you just, because everybody tweets him, like,
Yeah.
But yeah, tough to time, fair play to him. Yeah, fentanyl overdose.
Yeah, sad. A lot of people just took pills because they're in pill. Like people might take a sleeping pill, and then one of them has fentanyl in it, and it's, so it's a lot of people. I think that's what happened to Tom Petty as well. They say that people they take like their normal dose of the sleeping pill. I don't know if he was into heroin or anything like that.
Well, you see, people are mixing fentanyl with heroin now
Yeah.
to make their heroin stronger. Philip Seymour Hoffman did that.
Yeah.
He found 34 bags of heroin.
He was an addict, but I don't know. Maybe your man was an addict, but I didn't. Well, how do I know? I don't know anything about him.
Do you know who was a mad heroin addict? Your man from Glee that died. Do you know your man Corey Monteith, the main guy in Glee? Oh. So he died of a heroin overdose, and he's the most clean cut face on television. Like.
Yeah. What happens behind closed doors? Who's the most famous person that ever tweeted you back then?
Oh wow.
Because I was just thinking of one.
Wait, who tweeted you?
Elon Musk.
No way.
Yeah.
What did he say?
I can't remember. He was saying something about simulation or something, and I was high, and I said, "What if we're in a simulation, and when we create AI, that creates the next simulation in a big bang, and on it goes throughout infinity?" And he said, he texted something back about what did he say? He said it's turtles. It appears to be turtles all the way down, or something like that. Have you ever heard the saying that a turtle's back is infinity? I don't know. I don't really understand.
Okay.
It, but he said something like that. So I was just like, okay.
That's
And
class.
it's one of those things. I haven't been on Twitter in about a year, but
That's class.
that used to get like a few likes out of the blue years later. Now people would be onto that. So I don't know who's going back so far through Twitter.
Oh no, but that's what I mean. This is what you're dealing with the internet.
Yeah.
Like you're dealing with people who devote their lives to mad shit. I keep coming back to that documentary, Don't Fuck with Cats.
Yeah.
Those people had so much time in their hands that they went through Google Street View of corners of pictures to find the killer who put the cats into the van. And they weren't even searching for him because he killed the Asian guy.
Yeah.
They were searching him because he put 2 cats in a vacuum bag. And the internet loves cats, and they were like, we're going to find this prick. And
You don't mess with cats or Taylor Swift, Philip. That's a good way to get yourself cancelled.
that's...
There's lads who do this on TikTok now. They're called Geo. I think
they're
one's called
unbelievable.
Geo Monkey or something.
Unbelievable. There's one lad, and he can look at his, he can look at a picture, and he'd be like, "That's the British Virgin Islands."
Yeah.
And then he just
You
clicks
are
on it.
here.
Unbelievable.
Crazy. If he can do it, how come the CIA are missing all these people with drones? Because he must know where they all. He must know where they all are at all times. He's doing it from a TikTok video. If I accepted as many cookies in real life as I do on the phone, I'd be a fat fuck.
Don't even get me started about me cookies at the minute. All I'm getting now is hair transplants because I don't want to go into too much detail, but hoping to have a head of hair by Christmas.
This time next year on the Tell Bar podcast, we'll be recreating that scene from Wayne's World.
I'd be like Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm getting very thin up the front here. It's going to be. I don't think I'm going to go bald, but it's definitely. I won't be able to keep.
You
it
have a great
too
head of
long.
hair.
It's all right at the top, but the front here is getting a bit thin in the front here. I've always had a strange hairline there though, because I can't have a shaved head because it goes into a V.
Oh, like a Jude Law, his
so
goes into it.
So it's a. I don't know what I'm going to do when I want to shave it off. Like I'm going to have to come up with some solution.
Do you ever watch? Do you see Love Hate? No.
No, never watched.
That's the way Nidji's is. His goes into it but his goes into it's like a line nearly at the front. There's a hair transplant doctor, and all the Arsenal players went to him.
Right.
Like Gabriel and all these lads.
Yeah.
It's good enough for the Arsenal lads.
I saw you said to me before that David Beckham got one, and I didn't know anything about it. But then I saw him on Hot Ones the other day.
I think he's had 2.
Yeah, he was on Hot
yeah.
Ones the other day, and your man Sean, who's the host of Hot Ones, great show, great idea.
Great show.
Great idea. If you thought of that idea, you'd say that's fucking ridiculous, but it's actually brilliant.
Oh.
And the questions he asked are brilliant.
What's the bad one? Is it the bomb?
The bomb? Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
People don't like that one. I do like spicy food though. So when the podcast takes off and we're on Hot Ones together, like Ryan Reynolds and what's your man's name?
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, oh God, I mean,
Hugh Jackman was in bits.
they're both really likable lads, but for some reason felt like that was being rammed down my throat for the last 3 months. All this Deadpool and Wolverine thing. It feels like every time I turn anything on, there'd be 2 of them doing something.
Wolverine.
Not even just they'd be just them being buddies chatting together, like. So that's who I felt I was targeted with for the last while. And I wasn't even interacting with it that much, maybe really.
It was funny enough. A mate of mine was at the pool. He's in Vegas at the minute, and he was at the pool at, I think it was Encore to Win on Sunday. And Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul came out. Were doing a DJ set. They came out with the DJ. So like he looks up and there's Heisenberg and Jesse Pinkman in the DJ box.
Dance, bitch!
He said it was class.
Dance, Mr. White!
He said it was class. It justified the price of the ticket. He said the ticket was probably mad money.
It just goes to show you that DJs are fucking robbing a living, folks. Anyone can do it. Speaking of which, we won't put that in if it's you were back from Germany.
Oh
We said last week we would spill all about your trip to Germany to this famous DJ's wedding. How'd you get on?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Was it a nice setup?
DJ Robin, beautiful, beautiful. Lovely guy. I was talking to Lashuk. He was a great lad. I was chatting to a load of good guys. But the day itself was just phenomenal. It was lovely. And they really surprised me. They were partying like. It was great. We had spoken about maybe German people being reserved. No, they were ready to go. It was great. Yeah.
They're very good at gigs. German people and in general Irish people we've talked about before are a bit spoiled because there's live music all the time. In Germany, they don't. sometimes in Irish pubs, like there might be a live musician, but usually if you want to see music, you have to pay in. So it's more of a novelty.
Well, I suppose the way I seen it was like I was supposed to kind of just be background music from the beginning. But I've never known how to be background music in my life.
It's not your forte.
It's not my forte. So I mean, they were coming in getting their first glass of champagne, and I was going balls to the wall. Like. So it got up and moving fairly quick. Like we were all
Deadly. So it was a good trip.
It was
And
good
you got there on all the trains and all, which I
oh
thought.
man, it's mental. It's some size of a country.
Yeah.
Jeez, it was. I think my first one was 3 trains, and on the way back, I was in Mines.
Yeah.
Your spot. It was great. I tell you, you wouldn't want to be celiac and everything's bread. Everything's bread and beer. Like
Bread and gluten.
You wouldn't want to be gluten free in Germany. I'll tell you. Being
Gluten free in Germany is water. Wasser. Wasser.
Apples.
Yeah. Did you try apple vine?
No, I didn't. I couldn't find any.
No. No, maybe not in Stuttgart. It's not a thing. But
I was drinking lots of beers.
like nice beers over there.
So the first night I went in, I was in a place called Fellbach. And it's like a local area of Stuttgart. So like it was, it's not like the tourist area or anything. And I was staying up there. And I went into one of the local bars. And like, this is like, a local town bar.
Yeah.
So I walk in the door. All the locals are kind of sitting at the bar.
Do-do-do-do.
And I walk up and I'm like, how's it going? Can I get a pint, please, or whatever? And everybody in the bar, it was like,
Howdy, stranger.
it was like I was after pushing the doors open.
Ein großen Pils bitte.
Pushing the doors open to the saloon and just stepping in.
Yeah. Going to Bratislava soon. In Slovakia?
You can shoot guns there, yeah?
I'd assume so, yeah.
I think, bit like M16s and machine guns and all, you can shoot the big ones, like, I think,
Oh, yeah?
I think it's really unregulated there.
Is it Slovakia or Slovenia? I don't know.
Slovakia.
Slovakia.
Slovenia is Ljubljana.
Okay. I hope it's as beautiful as Budapest was. It was, apparently a few years ago, it was much cheaper and much more less touristy.
Like Oasis.
Like Oasis. Well, maybe.
See, Ticketmaster are being investigated for these standing tickets that were called. So they were just standing tickets,
Right.
but they were called high demand standing tickets.
Premium or something.
No, like
just high demand?
no, in high demand standing tickets.
Right.
And they were €450 instead of 180.
It's crazy. Although I'm reliably informed that when you, as an act, start selling things through Ticketmaster, you can choose to have all the tickets the same price or have premium tickets or in-demand tickets. So it has to come from the band. But if you're going to be touring for the next decade or 2 decades, it makes sense because you're building the fan base.
Yeah, of course.
Even happy. Oasis are obviously don't know if they're going to get past this one tour, so they're trying to maximize the cash out of it that they can get, I suppose. But
Makes sense.
still, it's not a great look, I would say. But
It's funny enough, I just to kind of get me in the mood, I was like, I stuck on Oasis at Nebworth today.
yeah,
That was some show. Like Liam Gallagher is on the way to the stage.
they never brought this up last week. Now, I have to say, because my mum is a Gallagher, and
Right.
when everyone calls him Gallagher, I always have to say to myself, "It's Gallagher."
I know it's Gallagher, but
Yeah.
but I think because they call
call themselves Gallagher.
they call themselves Gallagher, and
Yeah.
I'm like, but it is Gallagher.
Yeah,
Um,
it's Gallagher. It's an Irish name. It's Gallagher. My mummy's one.
Liam and Noel Gallagher.
Yeah.
But he's walking to the stage.
Yeah.
Just watch it. It's in the first 30 seconds or 40 seconds in Nebworth. And his nose is running like fuck. And he's on the way to the stage and he's trying to clean it up before he gets on the stage. And he gets out there and I'm just thinking, I was watching it today and I was like, with the chemicals in his system, and he walks onto that stage. That's the biggest gig he's ever done. Yeah. That was the biggest gig ever in the UK, I think, at that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And he walks onto it. I'd say, I'd love to have just put a BPM, a heart rate monitor on him and just checked his blood pressure when he walked on that stage. I'd say
his heart would have been going, boom, 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 maybe.
So look, I didn't get Oasis tickets.
Me neither.
But we're not going to rule out going.
We're not going to rule out going. We're probably going to get comped because the 2 lads that want to be on the podcast.
Oh, at that stage, of course.
Yeah, I'd say by the time 2025 rules.
If we haven't cancelled ourselves.
We haven't cancelled ourselves. Go back and find out if we cancelled ourselves, folks.
It's actually it's a short episode.
It's a short episode. It's only a half an hour. For this week, this is about the cancel culture. So leave us opinions you have on any of the things we talk about. Leave us a message because it helps with the algorithm. It helps us have topics to discuss and see what the audience is feeling about it.
See, in cancel culture now, it's mad because... So what TikTok will do is they'll just give you a ban. Because TikTok have a stringent like set of rules that you can't do this and this and this and this and this. And sometimes they'll just give you a shadow ban for like 30 days. And it's the same with a lot of social medias, but that's them coming for you before the public do.
Yeah.
So sometimes things can slip through the net and then the public come for you. But it's funny because in this age of TikTok fame, there's a young girl, her name's Zoe Whelan.
Right.
She's from somewhere in Dublin, but she's after kind of exploding. She does these food reviews, and she's very good. She's very funny and very entertaining young one. But we'd love to have you on the podcast at some stage, Zoe. She gave us a shout out the other day on one of her lives.
Oh, fair play.
And I'd like to hear just what Zoe has to say on her new TikTok fame and things like that, because it's mad. A lot of people kind of have to adapt very quickly, to things like that.
Yeah, because it happens in one video.
It can happen in one video.
Yeah.
I was listening to a thing last night about Picture This.
Right.
So Picture This, the band, had only one song.
Yeah.
And it exploded. And they had to put their whole band together and write a set list for their first gig on one song. So they went like globally viral almost overnight. So they just decided to put up a gig for the Academy 2 in Dublin.
Yeah.
And it was whatever, and it sold out in under a minute. They hadn't even a set list.
Yeah.
So like a lot of bands looked at Picture This kind of with a bit of hate because they didn't have to go through the motions and
There's
everything.
always that though, isn't it? Like, and it is, as we said, it's not just the song, it's not just the talent, it's not just it's like they're like as without sounding like an arsehole, it's the X factor. People just have the X factor.
They do, and Picture This do, to be fair, because everything they've written since has been very good and very commercially
You've got
viable.
a lot of the stuff I've heard in the last, a couple of years ago was sounded like very 1975-y to me.
No, because they went
and
off.
I'm a big 1975.
You are a big 1975 fan.
Huge fan. So I'm into that. They seem to they evolved as a band, which I always like to see. They don't stick to the same thing.
Well, I think what happened, I was listening to a man talking, he was on some podcast, maybe he was talking Bollocks Lads or something, but he was saying that for their second album, they had like a listening party with the label and everything. And it was so far removed from the first album. Apparently when they played the second album, everybody in the room was like, what the fuck have you done? What have you done? Like,
we spent $100,000 on this.
You took something perfect and painted it red. But, apparently then they were just, once that worked, they could basically say, right, we can do whatever the fuck we want now.
That's it. Well, you have to do, whether you're selling millions of records or you're just getting a few listeners a month, stick to what you like. I think is the best thing to do. If you start doing what other people like, just to try and make other people like it, it's not really being authentic with yourself, I would say.
No. We'll keep it real till we're cancelled.
We'll keep it real. We'll keep it real until we're cancelled, even though none of us actually exist, so we can't really keep it real. The only thing that's real is the love that we are.
That's wow. Drink.
Drink.
That's the duality's collapsing.
That's the duality's collapsing into oneness. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. That's it for episode 15 of the Temple Bard podcast.
Leave us your comments.
I hope we are not cancelled yet. Let us know who has been cancelled for saying something. That's something that we really want to know, because we can't think of anyone offhand. But for now, Sláinte.